Divine World Order, Episode 1. Olympus has a veto. It is a Tuesday afternoon in New York City. Specifically, it is 2:47 p.m. on a Tuesday afternoon in New York City, which is historically the least dramatic moment in the entire week. Nothing important has ever been decided at 2:47 p.m. on a Tuesday. Inside the United Nations General Assembly chamber, something is happening that will be referenced in political science textbooks for the next 40 years. A resolution is on the table. 17 countries have signed it. 3 permanent Security Council members have endorsed it. The legal team that drafted it worked for 8 months. There is a 70-page appendix. Someone brought a presentation. The Greek ambassador stands up. He doesn't open a folder. He doesn't consult notes. He simply places one hand flat on the table, looks at the room with the expression of a man delivering news he finds personally exhausting, and says, "The Council of Olympus has reviewed the resolution. Pause. The answer is no." He sits down. The 70-page appendix goes in the recycling bin. Someone from the Maldives, who has been waiting 3 hours to give a speech about rising sea levels, quietly packs up his notes and reschedules for Thursday. This is a Tuesday. This is normal. This is the world. Episode 1. Olympus has a veto, Part 1. Let's establish the basics before your brain breaks. Okay, deep breath. Here is what you need to understand before anything else in this series makes sense. The Greek gods are real. Not Percy Jackson real, though we will absolutely be in that territory emotionally. Not Clash of the Titans real, though the production values are comparable. Not My Philosophy Professor uses Zeus as a metaphor real. Actually, verifiably, show up in the middle of your security briefing real. They have always been real. They were real when Homer was writing about them. They were real when the Romans rebranded them with different names and hoped nobody would notice. The gods noticed. It was awkward. There were consequences. They were real during the Middle Ages when the Catholic Church was trying very hard to establish a monopoly on the divine, and kept running into the problem that Zeus was still demonstrably there. The official Vatican position on this situation is described in a 200-page internal document that has never been publicly released and is referenced by theologians as the complicated file. The gods never faded, never retreated into metaphor, never became the exclusive property of Disney animated films and college mythology electives and that one friend who names all their pets after Olympians. They stayed, they adapted, and human civilization, resourceful, desperate, occasionally brilliant, did what human civilization always does when confronted with an immovable force. It built a system around it. Now, before we go further, let's address the thing some of you are already thinking. But what about other religions, other gods, other mythologies? This is a valid and important question, and the full answer takes 3 episodes. The short answer for now is, other divine traditions exist in this world. They are real, they are significant, and we will cover them. This series begins with the Olympians, because the Olympians are the ones who, through a combination of historical circumstance, aggressive diplomacy, and Zeus having a particular talent for institutional power, ended up with the most influence over the political structures that currently dominate global governance. This is not a theological judgment, it's a geopolitical one. We're not saying Zeus is more real than other divine figures. We're saying Zeus has a seat at the UN and a veto, and absolutely no patience for the agenda item about maritime economic zones, which brings us to the system. Here is how the world is actually organized. Forget everything you learned in civics class. Not because it's wrong, it's mostly right, but because it's incomplete. Your civics teacher left out the top layer, possibly because explaining it takes more than a semester. Possibly because every time you try to write a textbook about it, Apollo has notes. The world runs on 3 tiers. Tier 1, human governance, everything you know. Democracies, republics, monarchies, the one country that's technically still a theocracy, but also has a stock exchange. Elections, parliaments, presidents, prime ministers, courts, constitutions. The whole magnificent, messy, contradictory human project of trying to run a civilization without killing each other too much. All of this works, all of this matters, right up until it bumps into Tier 2. Tier 2, international law, the United Nations, the International Criminal Court, trade agreements, treaties, the Geneva Convention, NATO, the entire architecture of international cooperation that humanity built after the Second World War because everyone collectively decided that doing that again was not on the agenda. This layer is where most global politics actually happens. Sanctions, negotiations, the strongly worded letters that precede the less strongly worded compromises. This is the layer diplomats live in, right up until it bumps into Tier 3. Tier 3, divine authority, at the top, non-negotiable, pressing down on everything beneath it with the casual indifference of something that was old when your civilization was a rough draft. When Tier 3 has a position on something, when a Zeus edict lands, when Poseidon makes his feelings known about a new undersea pipeline, when Demeter looks at a country's agricultural policy and decides it is personally offensive, Tiers 1 and 2 adjust. Every time. No exceptions. There is no Supreme Court ruling that overturns a god. There is no international tribunal with jurisdiction over Olympus. There is no appeals process for a lightning bolt. What there is, and this is the extraordinary thing, the thing that took 3,000 years of painful institutional evolution to develop, is a protocol, a way of communicating, a set of rules about how divine will gets translated into something human governments can actually act on, without causing a constitutional crisis every other Tuesday. And at the center of that protocol is one of the oldest and most powerful institutions in the modern world. The Oracle System, the divine portfolio system. Who owns what now? The gods themselves. The 12 major Olympians each hold what is called a divine portfolio, a domain of authority that cuts across every human border on Earth without apology or acknowledgement that those borders exist. Let's go through them fast, because we have a lot of ground to cover and Hermes specifically gets impatient with slow narration. Zeus, king of the gods, god of the sky, lightning, law, order, and justice. His portfolio in practical terms covers the atmosphere, weather systems, the rule of law as a concept, the divine legitimacy of political authority, and the general principle that things should be orderly and that disorder has consequences. His relationship with the UN is the central ongoing diplomatic story of the modern era. Zeus did not design the United Nations. He had no input into its charter. He has reviewed the charter. He has thoughts about the charter. These thoughts have been communicated through official oracle channels 14 times since 1945, and the UN's legal team has a dedicated working group whose sole purpose is responding to divine constitutional feedback from Olympus. The working group is called the Special Committee on Divine Governance Interface. Its meetings are classified. Its budget is not listed in any public UN document. Its current chair has a PhD in classical theology, a law degree from Yale, and what colleagues describe as a remarkable ability to stay calm under circumstances that would destroy most people's relationship with reality. Poseidon, god of the sea, earthquakes, horses, and storms. His portfolio covers all oceans, all seas, all major bodies of water, seismic activity, maritime navigation, and this one surprises people, horses. Yes, horses. The connection is ancient and involves the origin of both. We'll do a full episode on Poseidon. It deserves the time. What you need to know for now: Poseidon does not recognize UNCLOS. The United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea is a 1982 international treaty that defines the rights and responsibilities of nations with respect to their use of the world's oceans. It has 168 signatories. It is considered one of the landmark achievements of international law. Poseidon considers it decorative. The 1974 incident, in which a maritime law conference attempting to formally establish the 200 nautical mile exclusive economic zone, experienced what the official record describes as a coincidental seismic event during the session specifically about divine maritime authority. That incident is taught in every International Law School on Earth. The lesson is not about tectonic plates. Demeter, goddess of agriculture, grain, the harvest, and the fertility of the earth. Her portfolio covers crop yields, soil health, the success or failure of growing seasons worldwide, and the global food supply. Every country with a significant agricultural sector has a Demeter liaison. This is not a ceremonial position. The liaison's job is to monitor oracle communications from Demeter's domain, assess the theological implications of current agricultural policy, and flag, urgently, any government decision that Demeter might interpret as personally disrespectful to the earth. 1970s global food crisis is understood in this world not just as a product of economic mismanagement and weather patterns, but as a period of what scholars call sustained divine agricultural displeasure. Several countries quietly changed their farming policies in ways that made no economic sense but solved the problem. No official explanation was ever given. Hermes, god of trade, commerce, communication, travel, language, borders, and let's be complete about this, thieves and liars. His portfolio is the broadest and most modern feeling of any Olympian. In practical terms, it covers financial markets, international trade, all forms of communication technology, journalism, diplomacy, and the movement of people and goods across borders. Wall Street has a bronze relief of Hermes above its main trading floor. It has been there since the building's original construction. Nobody put it there intentionally. It appeared during a renovation in 1923, and 3 separate architectural historians have confirmed it was not part of the original design. Nobody has suggested removing it. Nobody ever will. Silicon Valley is Hermes's most active modern domain alongside Athena's. The overlap creates interesting jurisdictional questions. Is a social media platform primarily a communication technology? Hermes, or a tool for organizing human intelligence and civilization? Athena. The answer oracles say is both. And the 2 gods have a standing arrangement about it that neither has fully explained to human institutions but which seems to be working, mostly. Ares, god of war, of conflict, of the spirit that keeps soldiers fighting when every rational calculation says, stop. We're doing a full episode on Ares. He deserves the full episode. He has requested the full episode. Through oracle channels. The request was phrased less as a request and more as a statement of expectation. What you need to know now. 3 countries currently claim Ares' active patronage for their military. 2 of them might be right. The third is, in the words of a leaked oracle assessment, operating on hope and misinterpreted atmospheric phenomena. Athena, goddess of wisdom, strategic warfare, crafts, and civilization, the United States' primary divine patron. We'll cover that fully next episode. What you need to know now. Athena invented the concept of the strategic advantage. Every university, every think tank, every institution built on the idea that thinking better than your opponent is the ultimate weapon. That's her domain. She takes it seriously. The people in those institutions, whether they know it or not, are operating within her portfolio. She has opinions about how they're doing. The opinions are delivered through official oracle channels and are, by all accounts, extremely specific. Apollo, god of the sun, light, music, poetry, art, prophecy, truth, archery, plague, healing, and the sun. Yes, the sun twice. It's that important. Apollo's modern portfolio includes medicine, public health, all creative arts, scientific discovery, and the oracle system itself. He is, technically, the divine supervisor of every oracle on Earth, which gives him both enormous influence and an administrative headache he has been complaining about since approximately 500 BCE. The Nobel Prize Committee has on 3 occasions received oracle communications from Apollo's domain that, while not directly naming prize recipients, described recent scientific work in terms that the committee's own oracle liaison described in a private memo as pointed. The Nobel Committee officially denies divine influence in its selection process. The oracle liaison's memo is 47 pages long. Aphrodite, goddess of love, beauty, desire, and pleasure. Her portfolio is both the softest sounding and, in practice, one of the most geopolitically significant. Empires have fallen because of decisions made in her domain. Alliances have formed and shattered. Entire foreign policy doctrines have been quietly reshaped because someone in power made a personal decision that sat in Aphrodite's territory. The fashion industry, the entertainment industry, the beauty industry. Combined, they represent trillions of dollars of global economic activity. All of it sits in Aphrodite's portfolio. She is one of the most economically significant divine portfolio holders on Earth. She is also the one most frequently underestimated by people who should know better. Those people tend to have very interesting next few years. Hephaestus, god of the forge, fire, craftsmanship, and technology. Germany's primary divine patron. We'll cover that fully. The connection between divine craftsmanship and German engineering culture goes deeper than most people realize and ends, as everything involving Hephaestus in the Second World War eventually does, in a place of genuine moral weight. Artemis, goddess of the hunt, the moon, wilderness, and the protection of children and women. Her portfolio includes all wild spaces on Earth, every forest, every untouched coastline, every ecosystem that human development hasn't reached yet. Dionysus, god of wine, festivity, ecstasy, theater, and the dissolution of boundaries. His portfolio is the entertainment industry, the hospitality industry, the global alcohol and cannabis trade, and this is where it gets theologically interesting, all forms of art that involve losing yourself. Theater, film, music that makes you forget where you are. Stories that pull you into another world entirely. Every major entertainment industry awards show involves, somewhere in its production, a Dionysus blessing ceremony. You have watched these ceremonies on television. They are not presented as religious rituals, but if you know what you're looking for, they are unmistakable. Hestia, goddess of the hearth, home, and family. The quietest portfolio on Olympus, the most universally present. Every home on Earth sits in Hestia's domain, every kitchen fire, every threshold. The reason humans have always felt that home is different from everywhere else, that it has a particular quality of safety and belonging that no other space quite replicates. That's Hestia. She has no official government liaisons. She has no Oracle core assignments. She attends no international summits. She is in every single home on Earth, all the time, simultaneously. The Oracle Core did once attempt to assign a government liaison to the Hestia portfolio. The liaison lasted 3 months for submitting a resignation letter that Oracle historians describe as the most peaceful resignation in the organization's history, and moving to a small house in coastal Portugal where she reportedly makes excellent bread. Part 3. The Oracle System. Let's talk about oracles. Not the database software, though Hermes does have opinions about the branding situation there, and they are not positive opinions. The actual oracles, the humans. An oracle in this world is an officially licensed, government-employed, internationally recognized interpreter of divine communication. Their job, their entire, consuming, highly classified, extraordinarily well-compensated job, is to maintain an open channel to the divine portfolio holder relevant to their assignment and translate what they receive into something a cabinet minister can put in a briefing document. This sounds simple. It is not simple. Divine communication is not a phone call. It is not an email. It arrives in ways that require interpretation, context, theological training, and frankly, a psychological constitution that most humans do not possess. The Oracle Core, the international body that trains, certifies, and regulates oracles worldwide, is headquartered in Geneva, 2 floors above the World Health Organization, which knows it's there and has a complicated relationship with that fact. Training takes 7 years. The dropout rate is 63%. The ones who complete it are among the most quietly powerful people on Earth. Every major government has embedded oracles. The United States has 11, 3 assigned to the executive branch, 2 to the Department of Defense, 2 to the Treasury, 1 to NASA, 1 to the State Department, and 2 whose assignments are classified at a level that doesn't have a public name. The question, "What does the Oracle say?" is asked completely seriously in the West Wing. in the Situation Room, in the Pentagon's most secure briefing spaces. In the Kremlin, Russia officially neither confirms nor denies the number of oracles it employs, which in diplomatic terms means the number is large, and some of them are doing things the Oracle Corps would prefer not to know about. At the top-tier system, unchanged and unchallengeable, is the Oracle at Delphi. The Oracle at Delphi has been operating continuously since approximately 8th century BCE. It has survived the Roman Empire, the Byzantine Empire, the Ottoman Empire, 2 world wars, the invention of the internet, and a 2019 security review by the Swiss government that concluded, in its official report, that the site presents unique jurisdictional considerations that exceed current international legal frameworks, which is government language for "we have no idea what to do about this, and we are choosing to do nothing." The current oracle has held the position for 9 years. Her name is not public. Her face is not public. Her compensation is handled through a trust structure so labyrinthine that 3 separate Swiss law firms are involved, and none of them have the full picture. The waitlist for a formal Delphi consultation is 14 months. The cost is not published. A leaked State Department memo from 2019, the same year as the Swiss security review, a coincidence that classicists have written several papers about, described the fee as comparable to the acquisition cost of a mid-tier naval vessel. Every world leader who has used the Delphi consultation will publicly deny it. Every intelligence agency that has investigated which world leaders have used it has confirmed. All of them. Every single one. At least once. Usually more than once. Usually right before a decision that changed the course of their country. This is the world. And then, because the world is also capitalism, and capitalism finds a way, there is Pythia Plus. Pythia Plus is a chain of Oracle consultation offices founded in 2003 by a former Oracle Corps trainee who washed out in year 4 but retained, apparently, enough residual divine sensitivity to make the business model work. There are now 340 locations across North America. They offer walk-in appointments. Their most popular service is the 15-minute express consultation, which costs $180 and comes with a printed summary card. Their accuracy rating is disputed, vigorously disputed, by everyone including some of their own franchisees. But they have a 4-star average on Yelp, a very good app, and a loyalty program called the Golden Fleece Rewards Club that gives you a free consultation after every 10th visit. They are currently being sued by the Oracle Corps for trademark infringement. The case has been ongoing for 6 years. The judge assigned to it consulted a Pythia Plus location before accepting the assignment. This information is not in the official record. The Oracle Corps knows anyway. Part 4, Hubris Law, the crime everyone keeps committing. Now we need to talk about the law, not international law, not human law. The one law that sits above all of it, older than any legal system on Earth, enforced not by courts but by something considerably less interested in due process. Hubris Law. You know the word. You've probably used it casually. That was hubris, meaning someone got too big for their boots, someone overreached. Someone mistook their current good fortune for permanent invincibility. In ancient Greece, hubris was a social crime, a violation of the sacred order that separated humans from gods. It meant claiming equality with the divine, placing yourself above your station in the cosmic hierarchy. In this world, hubris is still a social crime. It's also a legal one, documented by the International Court of Divine Affairs, established in 1952, headquartered in The Hague, 2 buildings down from the ICC, with a staff of 340 people, and a case backlog that currently sits at 23 active proceedings. Here's how it works. The human court handles the documentation. It records the transgression. It assesses whether the action or statement constitutes hubris under the 1952 Hague Convention on Divine Relations. It issues a finding. It sends the finding through official oracle channels to Olympus, and then Olympus handles the rest. There is no sentencing guideline. There is no proportionality requirement. There is no appeal. There is nemesis, the divine embodiment of retributive justice, technically not one of the 12 Olympians, but permanently on retainer. And there is whatever she decides is appropriate. It is almost never immediate. This is important. People often make the mistake of thinking that surviving the first few weeks after a hubris designation means they've gotten away with it. They haven't. Nemesis is patient the way geological time is patient. So, that's the world. A world identical to ours in almost every way. Same countries, same governments, same arguments about who owes who what and why, except with one additional layer at the top. 12 immortal beings who have been running this planet since before we had writing, who adapted to every era of human history, who watched empires rise and fall and took notes, and who are, by every oracle account, genuinely invested in how this all turns out. They're not distant, they're not sleeping, they're not waiting, they're not to be awakened by some prophecy or portal or chosen one. They are here. They have always been here. They have a veto at the UN, a liaison at the Federal Reserve, a bronze relief above the stock exchange that appeared during a renovation in 1923 and will be there long after the building is gone. And we are, all of us, living in the world they built and continue to shape and will never, let's be very clear about this, never give back. Next episode, we're going country by country, divine patron by divine patron. We start with the two most complicated cases on Earth, the United States and Russia, because one of them has a patron who invented strategic genius, and the other has a patron who invented endurance. And right now, those two things are in direct conflict, and Olympus has opinions about it that neither Washington nor Moscow are going to enjoy hearing. We're also going to answer the question that half of you are already typing into the comments right now. What about the other gods? The other mythologies? Where is Odin in all of this? Where is Ra? Where are the Yoruba Orishas? Good question. Extremely good question. The answer is complicated and fascinating, and involves a summit meeting in 1952 that the UN does not acknowledge happened, but which changed the structure of global divine governance permanently. We'll get there. Subscribe. The Oracle said you were going to anyway. She's never wrong, daughter.